The following clip was recorded live for LEAF, a first-of-its-kind accelerator and fellowship for BIPOC women-led businesses. LEAF. Growing equity, one entrepreneur at a time.
And vision boarding takes on, or it's rooted in the power of visualization, right? And so one of the best things that I think you can ever do is to really understand the power of your brain. And it's not just, we have powerful brains to help us to compute stuff and to memorize things, but our brains are super powerful in getting us to really visualize our goals. And when you look at the neuroscience behind visualization, you'll see, and this is what a lot of athletes do, and that's why even athletes are encouraged to do practice visualization, is because your brain and your body, they when they react to a goal that you have and you see, it's a very powerful reaction, and it is something that motivates you. Now, sometimes people think that vision boarding is like this one and done thing. All I have to do is like put the things up that I want to see, and then poof, they happen. And that is not the case. Okay. So vision boarding is something that allows you to have powerful goals, to set those things in front of you, but it also is a cue to motivate you to actually pursue those things, right? And so vision boards give you these visual cues to get you to go into motion and to keep you motivated, right? And to actually connect you with the good feelings that come. And part of visualization and why it's so powerful is that we really do need to kind of activate the good stuff happening in our brain to elevate our mood. And so like when we elevate our mood, when we focus on positivity, and not in a toxic positivity way, but when we focus on positivity in really healthy ways, that literally releases like brain chemicals that get us to focus and get us to move in the direction of where we want to go. Hey, Cynthia, how you doing?
Hi.
Hi, how are you? So I'm just getting like a little brief kind of overview of vision boarding, kind of its roots. So are you familiar with vision boarding at all? And have you done it before?
I've never done it before, so
Okay,
yeah.
okay, cool. So we're all new. So it's all good. You're in very good company. So what I want to do first is I just want to kind of help us to understand and ground us in the science of visualization. Okay, so this is going to be a clip that's really based in sports psychology, but we can learn a lot from sports psychology when it comes to the power of visualization. Okay, but before I do, right, we can actually get started with our vision board now. Name one thing that you visualize for yourself for 2022 in terms of what you want to achieve. So Alejandra, I'll start with you. And it can be big, it can be small, it can be personal, professional, physical, whatever it is. Go ahead, Alejandra.
Mine is two things. Can I say two?
Of course, go ahead.
Okay. I've been working a lot on my health, so I definitely see myself getting to my goal weight and just being healthier overall. And I want to take the entrepreneurship side of me to another level. I've always worked with small businesses, but this time I want to work in my own small business. So that is something I envision is, starting a business of my own.
Awesome. I love that. I love it, love it, love it. Elisa, how about you? What are one or two things that you're envisioning for yourself for 2022?
I feel like this is I don't know. I feel hopeful about this year, and our company, it's in its very early stages, but we're moving forward kind of like, it feels like kind of faster than we expected, which is great. So yeah, we just we have a couple I guess goals for this year, and then like long-term goals. But my partner, who also roasts the coffee that we serve, he kind of is launching his roasting program.
Nice.
So and he used to have a partner separate from our cafe company, and now he's moving forward on his own in that avenue. So good things are happening in that avenue, and so that's going to help us kind of grow as a
Okay.
business.
Okay.
So I kind of see that helping us along the way. And then, yeah, just connecting more with our community, I think, is something that I see happening more and more. And we just keep meeting people every day
Excellent.
that just, I can see us I don't know, just doing something in the community, like really connecting and like helping our community in more ways than just our brand. You know what I mean? Just collaborating and helping push other people forward as well. So
And
that's something that I really feel it.
I bet, and feeling is really important here, right? Like, so like I never want you all to dismiss your feelings, because I think sometimes, depending on how you grew up, maybe what your culture is, we kind of just like say, oh, feelings don't matter. Feelings are like frou-frou and soft, and like they have no validity. But your feelings are actually quite important, even from like a scientific standpoint, right? And so and feelings are really just messengers, right? Feelings tell us, and they give us really, really important information that help us to dial in, okay, like where am I? Right? Like what state am I in right now? And how can I either ride this out if it's like a positive feeling, or what is it that I need to change if it's a negative feeling? Okay, so feelings are messengers that give us really, really important information. And that's critical when we're trying to achieve the goals that we envision for ourselves. So Michael, how about you? What are one or two things that you're envisioning for your 2022?
I'm on track for graduating by the end of my fall semester.
Awesome. Love it. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. It's been a long time coming. So yeah, really excited for it.
Awesome. Good. Keep that excitement. Cynthia, what are something that you envision for 2022 for yourself?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just really creating systems for my business to actually grow it. I think I've just been running without having concrete systems in place. So I'm excited to kind of get that organized, which I think is going to really give me direction. So that's something I'm excited for this year.
Good. Awesome. And Javon, how are you? Happy Monday. What is something that you're envisioning for yourself for 2022?
When growing the team and also getting into the facility that we're working on, so we could attract more customers.
Excellent. I love it. I love it. These are very concrete things that you all are talking about, and that's super important. It's going to actually help you with like the physical visualization. So right now, what I want to do, let me just make sure that my video is queued up here. I'm going to just show you a video about the science of visualization. And again, this comes from athletic or sports psychology, and we can learn a lot from sports psychology when it comes to visualization. So hang on one moment. Let me just share my screen. I hope this works. I'm working on a new computer and I'm trying to like get to know it. So just bear with me. Okay, so do you all see this? It's the scientific benefit of visualization for athletes. Okay, so I'm gonna play. Hopefully, if you hear it, just put a thumbs up. I'm gonna hit the play button now.
Cannot tell the difference between an actual physical event and the vivid.
Okay.
Our brains cannot tell the difference between an actual physical event and the vivid visualization of that same event. A reason for this is that when we experience something and when we visualize the same thing, we activate similar brain circuits. Because of this, visualizing desirable outcomes helps boost confidence, motivate ourselves, improve focus, practice movement sequences, increase strength, decrease reaction times, rewire our brains, and make epigenetic changes in our bodies. These things, along with your training, all complement and reinforce each other to improve performance and help you achieve your goals. For example, Conor McGregor uses visualization to boost confidence and prepare for competition. To give you an idea of how serious Conor is about training his mental game, here's what his coach John Kavanagh has said about it.
Visualization techniques that Conor was doing before I'd heard of anyone else doing them, like he could tell me when he was going to fight. He knew exactly what was going to happen long before it happened because he had done it 1,000 times in his head. He had warmed up in backstage. He had heard the crowd. He had smelt the arena. He had seen the audience. He would really immerse himself in the fight night. So by the time fight night came along, where a lot of people do maybe been training in kind of a quiet gym for 8 or 12 weeks, and then they walk out to 15,000 people and they get shocked. He used to walk in going, yeah, this is my 1,000th time doing this. Yeah.
Like John Kavanagh said, Conor's vivid visualizations can help explain why he is so relaxed and confident when he makes the walk to the octagon. It's a similar story with Michael Phelps. In his book, he writes that he would visualize to prepare for competition and to motivate himself, sometimes for up to 2 hours in one sitting.
My dreams and visualizing kind of really played a role in to making me motivated and helping me achieve the goals that I had.
Alex Honold, an athlete who climbs some of the world's most challenging mountains without a rope, does the same thing as Phelps. As he writes in his book, sitting and thinking hour after hour, visualizing every single move, everything that could possibly happen. That's what it takes to wrap your mind around a challenge such as the one I was about to attempt. I had deliberately visualized everything that might happen on the climb, including breaking a hold or just losing it and falling off. In a real sense, I performed the hard work of that free solo during the days leading up to it. Once I was on the climb, it was just a matter of executing. In terms of increasing focus and decreasing reaction times, a study of 200 martial artists found that visualization and self-talk reduced reaction times from 0.737 seconds to 0.659 seconds, roughly 10%. Although this may not seem like much, this is often the difference between winning or losing. An explanation for why this happens is rooted in a part of our brain called the reticular activating system.
Hold on 1 second.
The reticular activating system acts as a filter. Out of all the information coming to our senses from the environment, it selects what will be.
Okay, sorry about that. Again, I am working with a new computer, so I'm trying to get to know it at the same time. Okay, so let me get back here. So what are your thoughts when you see this? Go ahead.
Oh, well, for me, I know that your brain is like a magnet. So whatever you think, you will attract. So if it's positive or negative, you're going to basically pull that in and you're going to perform that way, or you're going to bring that to your game or to your business or wherever you're going. So if you think negative, that's what you're going to receive. I know for myself, I changed the way I think about relationships. You know, it's a lot of women, we say, oh, there's no good men out there. Well, guess what? That's what you're going to meet. Oh, my business is not going to do well. Oh, I'm not going to have a lot of customers. Well, guess what? That's what you're going to receive. So for me, instead of looking at the glass half empty, I looked at the glass half full. It's always a positive outcome in any situation. One story I could tell is I was doing a pop-up for an organization. They said they were going to have, first they said, Javon, we're going to help you get known. I was like, okay, they're going to have 500 people at this event. I made over 100 salads. And I only sold 9 salads. That meant there were 91 salads left over. However, I had to think fast, think quick, because I had salads. So I called my brother up like, hey, can I do a pop-up at your store the next day? I did that, got on Instagram, Facebook Live. Hey, I got $5 salads. Come get your salads. Then it dawned on me, wait a minute. They did help me get known, because if I sold out, I wouldn't have got out there on the street and sold my salads. But that moment, that's when I started selling at pop-ups. I was too afraid to get out there. But after that, the doors opened up.
Awesome. I love that. And so like one thing I do want you to do, and this is for everybody, if you have not done this yet, because this can go on your vision board, I want you to create an accomplishments folder. Okay. And I think I've mentioned this before, how when you create that accomplishments folder, it gives you proof and evidence that you can achieve your goals, right? And that you do have what it takes to actually do that. And I want you to get some kind of physical representation of that memory or that thing, right? So maybe for Javon, it's like, you know, a picture of a salad with like $5 on it, right? And that can remind you of the time when you had to be super creative and you then, you know, it turned into like this whole wonderful pop-up situation, right? And so oftentimes with vision boards, we think about what we want to do, which is wonderful, but I also encourage you to have visual cues that have proof of what you have accomplished as well, right? Because your brain, your body, your soul, your mind needs to know that, because again, when it comes to achieving our goals, it's not enough just to visualize it. As you saw with the video, it's about the action steps that you take. So these athletes that were featured, they weren't just looking at themselves winning their fight, winning their races or what have you. They actually envisioned and they saw themselves doing the work, right? So I can't remember who said it, but there's someone who said, like, I just want systems in place, right? Who said that? Was that Cynthia?
That was me, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So for you, for instance, then I want you to maybe it's a screenshot of a computer screen with like folders that says like HR, like finances, right? Tax information. Something that visually signals and cues this is a system, right? So now, okay, I'm going to turn to Auntie Oprah because she always has wisdom about these things. So we're going to listen to Oprah and kind of see what she has to say about, visualization. So hold on one second. Hopefully I can get this queued up properly.
But I don't vision board anymore.
Okay. Now, when you first hear her, she's gonna say, "I don't vision board anymore. I don't want that. I don't want that to deter you." Okay, because again, she's gotten to a point where she can just like vision stuff in her head, and she does what it takes to just kind of make it happen. But as you are beginning, I highly advise that you do a physical vision board until you can kind of get to that point where where the board is like in your head. Okay, so let me just share my screen here. Okay, can y'all see this? It's a picture of Oprah. A thumbs up. Yes, do you see it? Okay, great. So I'm gonna play.
More because I am a powerful manifester.
Let me rewind it.
But I don't vision board anymore because I am a powerful manifester. And I know that, and I know how to do it without physically putting it on a board. I know how you have to. You want to know how to do it?
Absolutely.
Jaleesa,
pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
This is such a surreal moment for me because Oprah, you're my vision board for
Am I?
2018.
Really?
And I am here. So I have manifested this moment.
Congratulations.
That's great. So I am here. It is an honor. And, I'm just curious, Oprah, at this stage in your career, and for you all as well, do you even have a vision board? And if so, what type of things are on it?
Wow. Yeah. Oprah.
No. Do you have one? I don't have one anymore.
Yeah.
No.
I do. I still have things I want to accomplish and things I want to do. I think there's so much more to do. And I think the great thing about life is you have so many chapters.
Yes.
And they got to be all different too. You got to mix it up. I want to run a marathon.
You do?
I want
Do
to
it.
before
I support you in that.
You've done it.
I've done it. I support you in that. Everybody should do one.
One.
Yeah,
I
you
wanna
should do
that.
one.
Let's do it. The Wrinkle in Time. We'll do a Wrinkle in Time marathon.
But I don't vision board anymore because I am a powerful manifester. And I know that, and I know how to do it without physically putting it on a board. I know how. You have to. You want to know how to do it?
Absolutely.
You have to meet the vibration. You can't be above or below it. It's just what I was talking about, negative energy, positive energy. In order to draw the thing to you that you want to come, you can't want it so much that you fear that you won't get it. You have to want it. So in order for me to be on your vision board, you must have put it there and then you let it go.
Yes.
And then you weren't thinking about it every day, because it doesn't come to you that way. You have to do it, and then you have to put it, and then you have to meet that vibration. You have to prepare yourself to be there and ready when it shows up, and you were. Jaleesa, you were there.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
That's such a word, and it makes me think about in A Wrinkle in Time, there were so many powerful messages that were very spiritual, very deep, and I just want to touch on them for a second. So the first one, they said, you can fear the answers, but you can't avoid them. And I'm curious, Oprah, throughout your journalism career, have you ever asked a question that it was difficult for you to hear the answer to?
Yeah, I actually have, and I won't tell you who the person was. I got really shut down by someone who said, that's a stupid question. It would be the person you least in the world would expect to say that, which is every journalist's fear, to be in a position where you ask a question. And the person said, well, that's a stupid question. And I refused to let myself be shut down, but I was so taken aback by it. And then I was like, well, was it stupid, or was you didn't understand what I was saying? So,
Hold on.
And so, but I didn't let that deter me. I didn't let that deter me at all.
Absolutely. And there's another powerful quote. The wound is the place where the light enters you. We were just
That's
talking
it.
about that.
Yes,
It's so deep. And I would just love to know, is there a painful moment in you all's life that actually ended up being enlightening?
The reason why that, we were just talking about this before you came in, the reason why that, thank you for bringing it to our attention. The reason why the wound quote is so profound is because once you've been around as long as I have, you know that there is not one single thing that has ever happened to you or will happen to you that will be wasted. If you look at every single crisis, difficulty, challenge, every joy-filled moment that comes into your being, everything is there showing up to make you more of who you were meant to be.
Okay. So what did y'all think about that?
That was deep.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked what she said about meeting your, like vision, not overthinking it. Because I know that's something that I do a lot is especially if I want it so badly,
Right.
and I overthink it or I trying too hard.
Mhm.
And the crazy thing, like I said, I feel like we've come a long way in a short amount of time.
Mhm.
And I guess I haven't been doing that. I haven't been I'm kind of doing like I'm going in through the motions, but like I guess because I can see like our goals clearly, it's helping me just focus on, okay, how do we get there? And I'm not overthinking it. I'm just trying to like figure out, okay, what's the next step? What's like, we did this, we accomplished this goal, and then like how do we get to the next one? So
Right, exactly. And what I want, and always keep that, right? And like part of your visualization board, your vision board is not just visioning again the outcomes, right? But this is also about you. Like you are not apart from what you want to envision. So when you are visioning what you want for yourself, you also want to be thinking about, well, who do I have to be to make these things happen as well? So for Oprah, right, she gave a really good example where during her journalism career, she had an encounter that would maybe otherwise shut somebody down. But she was so resilient that she was like, I'm not going to let this, like trip me up. I'm going to keep doing my journalism thing. Right. So your vision board is about your goals, but it's also about the you that you have to become to get to those goals. Right. How are we doing so far? We good? Feedback, thoughts so far?
I have feedback.
Yes, please. Absolutely.
For me, I have 4 vision boards that I've created. One for personal, one for business, and then each year I have to do one for this year. But I could honestly say that it's there. Once I see it, every time I wake up, I start to realize things start to happen once you put it out there, and just be prepared for it and say, this is what I'm going to do. I know when I started my business, it was told to me that no one would buy my salads. That's a stupid, why would I buy a salad from you? That's a dumb business, and so on. But I knew that it could happen. So you just got to do it. I mean,
yeah, and we're gonna
it's hard to, but I mean, you just got to get your negative thoughts out your head sometimes, your doubts.
And that sounds very simple, and simple things are not always easy things, right? And so like what I want you all to realize too is that part of your visualization is going to be seeing visions of yourself doing the hard stuff as well. Okay. Because sometimes people have these misconceptions about vision boards that, okay, as long as I put it on the board and slap it there, it's going to happen. And that's not the case at all, right? Again, visualization is a technique that gets you motivated, it keeps you motivated, elevates those positive emotions, elevates your mood, elevates your motivation to get you to the place where you want to go, right? And it's also about, really helping your resilience as well. Okay, so I think a good example again would be Javon with the salad pop-up thing, right? So if she had just thought, okay, this first event was a failure, she probably would not have allowed herself to get to this other point where she was like, no, actually, that thing that didn't turn out that great is actually quite helpful. And I did actually meet my goal, right? And so again, that's important when you're visualizing something. It's not about, you don't get so attached to the how, right, of how something is going to happen, because then you become super rigid. So again, part of your visualization is really embodying that sense of freedom and fluidity. It's like one thing that I would highly advise that people put on their vision board is some form of water to always signal to yourself and remind yourself to be fluid, right? So we're actually going to start with a few exercises. Let me just cue up my screen here, okay? All right, so you all are familiar with the Jamboards. We've used that quite a bit, right? Yes. Jamboards, yes, no. It's okay if you haven't. Okay, so Jamboards are, it's a tool from Google. And so it's like this collaboration tool that you can use, and it's pretty cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to actually put the Jamboard link into the chat. And this is where we're gonna start to kind of build the components of our vision board, okay? So if you just click in the chat there, it should take you to the LEAF 2022 vision board. Can you all get in there? You all see it at all? You need access. Okay. Let me see. All right, let me change. Oh, okay, here we are. There you go. I'll copy the link. Okay. Try this one. I just put it in the link again. You should be able to get into it now. Do you have access to it, Michael? Do you see it now? Okay, yay. Yay, people are in. Okay, cool. I see people are in the Jamboard. Okay, so these are the components of our vision board, right? I want you to just start putting post-it notes, and what you can do, you can just click on, I'm in here too. You should be able to see me. Actually, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna share my screen so that you can actually see how this works. Okay, do you see my screen? It's the Jamboard. Okay, so what you can do is you can just click on the sticky note over here and then just start to type, right? So what matters most to me? What's my why? Okay, so you can say my why is to do things that support my well-being, and then I click save, and boom, there you have it. Okay, so I just want you to focus on like what matters to you most, like what is your why? And this is really about you, okay? Not just your business, right? Not just your relationships, not just school, but like this is the essence of who you are. Like, why am I here on this earth? Like, what gets me up in the morning? Okay, complete what you started and enjoy your accomplishments. I like it. And there are no right or wrong answers here. So any other ones that we want to share? Okay, and that's okay. We can always go back to this. Okay, but in the interest of time, I'm going to move on to the next slide. Okay. So vision board foundations. All right. So I'm going to read this out. Okay. And then we're going to do just a quick visualization exercise, kind of similar to what we learned in the video on sports psychology. So I want you to just briefly think about how you would fill in these blanks. Okay. In 2022, I want to feel blank. I want to be blank. I want to embody blank. I want to develop blank. I want to show up as blank. I want to change blank. I want to accomplish blank. And then if I don't achieve these things, if these things don't happen, the possible consequences are, I need to fix this. If I don't achieve these things, the possible consequences are, okay? So again, thinking about these blanks, I want to feel this way. I want to be a certain way. I want to embody certain things. I want to develop certain things. I want to show up as certain things or certain ways. I want to change certain things. I want to accomplish certain things. And if I don't achieve these things, the possible consequences are, okay? So what I want us to do, I'm just going to focus on this first part here. I'm going to walk us through just a visualization exercise. Okay, so I want you to close your eyes. I want you to just get comfortable. You can move your neck around a little bit, roll your shoulders. Okay, if you want to, close your screen for now, or not close your screen, but like hide your video for now, you can if you wish. I'm just going to take you and just like walk you through some deep breathing. Okay, and just some visualization. So I want you to start to take some really deep breaths in through your nose. And let's do some belly breathing all the way down your throat to your chest. Feel that breath in your belly and then let it out. If a thought comes to you, just want you to let it go. The only thing that matters for the next few minutes is just you. And that's it. Breathe all the way in through your nose, all the way down your throat to your chest. Feel that breath filling your belly and then release it. On this next breath, when you breathe in, I want you to get into your happy place, whatever that might be. And I want you to connect with and really see as much detail as you can with that happy place and allow yourself to feel that happiness, to feel that love, to feel that peace, whatever you need. And just enjoy it for a moment. Continuing to breathe deeply. Now I want you to remember some of the things that you mentioned earlier about what you want to achieve for 2022. Some of you said building new systems. Some of you said graduating. Some of you said growing your business, connecting with your community. I want you to get a sense or a vision of those things. What does that look like for you? Those things happening in your happy place. When that thing is successful, what does it look like? Continuing with your deep belly breaths. Then start to fill in some of these blanks. Imagine yourself feeling a certain way. In 2022, I want to feel peaceful. I want to feel happy. In 2022, I want to be balanced. I want to be more powerful. In 2022, I want to embody stability. I want to embody peace. In 2022, I want to develop more connections. In 2022, I want to show up as a whole human being. In 2022, I want to change my community. In 2022, I want to accomplish more sales, more revenue. Get a really detailed picture of what all of those things look like as you're accomplishing your goals. Now on this last breath, I want you to imagine yourself hugging yourself and congratulating yourself on a job well done, because you've accomplished what you want to accomplish in 2022. It could be a hug, it could be a high five. And I want you to smile at yourself for a job well done. And slowly open your eyes and come on back. You can wiggle around a little bit if you want. Move your neck around, roll your shoulders a little bit, stretch a little bit. How did that feel for everybody? Good. Okay, I see a thumbs up from Michael.
Relaxing.
Good. Okay. Theodora, hi, how are you? How'd that feel for you? You there, Theodore? Okay, maybe not. Claudia, how about you? How'd that feel for you?
Hello. I'm a little sick, but
Okay.
I'm still gonna try. It was really reassuring.
Okay, good. Good.
I've been having a lot of difficulty with just gaining confidence lately. So I'm so sorry. I'm just so emotional today.
It's okay, we got you. And that is a very, very real thing. And that's what all of this visualization is about, right? It is to really envision yourself as your best self. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with you now. It's all about just getting you to that next level. And you can always give yourself that hug. Okay.
I really did hug myself real
Good,
tight because
good.
I have been sitting here alone at the house, and I had been just, thinking about everything that I have accomplished this past month. And it's been a very tough month, and I'm just, here. And I was taking a little bit of time to write on my what's the most important thing for me. And I couldn't put it in words. I struggle to put my feelings or what I think, what I feel in words. But I think that my thing is to stay motivated.
Good. Okay. So that's going to be your word, right? And when you
Yes.
write these things down, they don't have to be like full on sentences, right?
Yeah.
As long as they make sense to you, that's what matters, right? Like I know that I'm a professor and I grade people's writing, but that's not the point of this exercise for tonight, okay? It's just whatever it is that you need, okay?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, of course. So if you go back into your Jamboard, all right, I want you to just to kind of put some post-it notes, okay, on the Jamboard in terms of I want to feel. So for Claudia, it's I want to feel I want to be motivated. I want to embody motivation, right? So her post-it note might be just motivation. Okay. Another post-it note that someone might have might be peaceful. I'm gonna put this in pink. Okay. So just start to put those sticky notes up there, like those words that are going to be powerful for you, and you know where they need to go for you. Okay. So maybe just one or two more. Okay. And then we're going to move on to the next slide.
Hi, this is Theodora. I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to respond earlier. I was fumbling with my phone, not so much my phone, my mouse. He wasn't responding and couldn't get out of mute. So sorry about that.
No,
But
you're fine.
exercise is very empowering and very hopeful to see that we can actually, set the intention out there and have hope that the universe or God and all the forces will will help us, get there. So yeah, it's a very, very uplifting and positive moment. Thank you for that.
Of course, I am so glad to hear that. I am very glad to hear that. So yeah, just to start to keep on filling that up right now. The thing with vision boarding, kind of manifesting, one of the rules, so to speak, that people talk about is you want to envision things as if they already are, right? And so they want you to be very careful about the wording that you choose. And so we want to go from like, I want to feel and I want to be, to I am. But I just want you to first get in touch with what those wants are, right? And then the next step is for you to then really focus and see yourself being motivated, see yourself being peaceful, right? See yourself developing those things. So the first step is to get in and really get in touch, because I think oftentimes as entrepreneurs, we don't really sit down and just like think about this deeply, right? Like we're like, go, 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 go. Okay. But again, the first step is to just kind of get in touch and to recognize like what those wants are, like in its totality, in its totality, right? And how they're connected. So it's not just, I want to achieve revenue, right? I want to achieve revenue to have a more flexible life. I want to achieve revenue so that I can, have a legacy for my community. Right. So you always want to be anchored in that why for yourself, and then connect those wants in that state of being to that why. Does that make sense to people? Yes, we're good. Okay, excellent, excellent, excellent. Very good, very good. Okay, so we're going to now move on to the next slide on the vision board, which is about just who do you think you are? Now, I know that sounds like kind of spicy and saucy, right? I'm not saying it's like, who do you think you are? I'm not saying it like that. Okay, I'm not saying it with an attitude, but it's really asking ourselves, like, who do we really believe that we are? And this is super important when it comes to really targeting the achievement of those goals. Because sometimes, right, when we think about what we want and we think about where we are, sometimes there's a disconnect between what we see in our future and like where we are now. Sometimes our dreams might be bigger than who we are now, right? And that's okay, because it's a human thing. And this would not be an entrepreneurial journey if the dreams that we had were not bigger than who we actually are. But we have to get to a point and a place where we truly believe that we can show up in the ways necessary to achieve those dreams. But you first have to understand and know like what the gaps are. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here. So the question here is, what are my beliefs about myself, my dreams, my abilities, and my worth? But then here's like the strength building, and the strength building is really, and the strength recognition is super important, because we all have strength. And we have to remember that if we wouldn't have these strengths, right? If we didn't have the important strengths and skill sets to achieve those things. All right. So I want you to really think about like, what do you actually believe about yourself and your dreams and your abilities and your worth towards those things that you want to achieve for 2022. Right. I know for me, when I was getting my PhD, I had a moment where I was like, I'm about to quit. This thing is way too big for me. It is too much. The demands, the expectations, I just can't. Right. What people are expecting me to do after this is way beyond where I'm at right now. But luckily, I had a phone call with my parents as I was crying in the bathroom of my university in the basement, telling them that I was going to quit. And I had a really crystallizing moment with my parents, and they reassured me about my strengths, but they also reassured me about literally taking one day at a time. And even that in and of itself can be a strength. So I want you to think about, again, like, what are your true beliefs about yourself? What are your true beliefs about your dreams and your abilities and your worth? Even if they are not that great, this is an honesty moment right now, because I don't want you to necessarily think that you have to fake it till you make it. It's about being honest with yourself so that you can be real and authentic with, okay, this is what I have to actually do to really focus on the good things about me so that I can achieve what I want to achieve. Because if you don't recognize what your gaps are, you're not going to know how to actually fix it and to get the resources that you need to fix it either. Okay. So again, go into the Jamboard and just think about this question. If you want to put a Post-it note on there, then that's great, so we can share. But just think about it for a minute. I'm going to stop sharing here. Okay. So in the interest of time, all right, I now want to go to like the last part, and this is about habit. Okay, so I mentioned earlier how it's really important for you not just to envision what you want, like the final outcome, right? But it's really important for you to see yourself making those things happen, right? And the way that we engage in action is habit formation. Okay. Now, just as there is the scientific, brain science behind visualization and kind of what it does with the brain and rewiring the brain and everything else, it's the same thing with habit formation. Okay. And so I'm going to just show you a really quick clip about like how we actually develop habits and kind of what the brain science is behind that. So let me cue that up. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to share my screen. Oops. Okay, so do you all see this? You see a dude here, and then the title says How Habits Change Your Brain According to Science. You see that? Thumbs up? Okay, cool. So I'm not going to play this.
Hey, smart people, Joe here. What if I told you that the reason you had minty fresh breath this morning was because 100 years ago, an advertiser named Claude C. Hopkins was having trouble selling a brand of toothpaste? See, he needed to convince people that brushing their teeth should be a daily routine. And back then, it wasn't for most people. In the end, he was able to get half the American public to pick up a new behavior and repeat it every single day and pay money for his toothpaste. How did he do it? By tapping into neuroscience and decoding the awesome power of habits. Habits, we've all got them. You can probably think of a few of your own. I always seem to tap my feet when I'm trying to sit still, and I find myself biting my nails whenever I'm focused on reading or watching a movie. I don't consciously think about doing these things. It's because I've done them so often, they become a habit. We know habits as things we do automatically, tasks we do subconsciously, like walking or high-fiving. There's tons of things that technically count as habits, and they can be good or bad. So why do we form habits? And how do we learn new ones or unlearn old ones? If you take the same path to school or work, then you likely have that pathway burned into your brain. You can probably walk it without even paying attention. Habits are built in a similar way. New neural pathways are formed when you repeat a behavior. And the more that a brain circuit fires, the easier it becomes for our brain to do whatever that circuit controls without conscious thought. Think back to how you learned how to ride a bike. At first, riding a bike is tough. You've got to learn how to pedal and balance and turn all at the same time. You have to consciously think about each action. This happens in an area of your brain called the prefrontal cortex, the part associated with complex thought. But eventually, after you ride enough, you no longer have to think consciously about each individual action. Riding a bike has become a habit, and now it's controlled by different parts of your brain. One area involved in habitual behavior is the striatum, which actually releases chemicals that inhibit the complex thinking part of your brain for that task. This is your brain being efficient. By turning down your brain's thinking requirements for, say, bike riding, it's free to think other things like, how exactly do igloos keep you warm? Let's go back to Claude Hopkins and his toothpaste scheme. Claude realized habits have three key ingredients: a cue, a behavior, and a reward. A cue is something that triggers a behavior, like how the alarm clock triggers you punching the snooze button. And this is followed by the reward, 9 sweet extra minutes of sleep. Claude got people thinking about that slimy film on your teeth in the morning, thanks to the bacteria that colonize your mouth overnight. The sticky film is the cue that triggers brushing behavior. Well, what's the reward? Claude convinced people this film would make their smile look ugly, and a prettier smile was the reward for brushing. Claude understood that with the right cue and the right reward, you could entice people to do just about whatever behavior you wanted. But what he didn't know was that rewarding a behavior can actually create a craving. And this is what makes habits so strong. Scientists now know that special neurons in the brain can fire and give us chemical rewards. But what's weird is that once a habit and a reward are tied together in our brain, those reward neurons start firing before you do the behavior. This is what causes craving, and it's why you want popcorn when you go to the movies, why you pick up your bad habits and you see other people doing them, and why habits are so hard to break. Claude knew a prettier smile would be a reward that would make people brush, but he didn't anticipate that over time, people would subconsciously start craving the minty tingle that Pepsodent left in their mouth. People's brains actually started to crave toothbrushing. So how can you train yourself to pick up a new habit, like eating an apple a day? And if you've got a bad habit, can you break it, or are you stuck with it forever? Scientists used to think that our brains didn't change all that much once we reached adulthood, like concrete once it's solidified. But it turns out your brain is much more like clay. It's a super flexible organ. The chemistry of your brain is constantly changing as you go about your day in response to everything from learning to moving to hunger. These chemical releases are short-lived, but over time, if the same behaviors are repeated, the physical structure of the brain is actually changed. You create new neural pathways. And because the neural network has changed, so does the way the information flows. When a behavior is repeated often enough, a habit is formed. There's this famous idea that a new skill is learned by putting 10,000 hours of work into it. But it's not that simple. The amount of time differs hugely between tasks and between people. What's for sure is that when it comes to making a habit, whether it's learning guitar or meditation, there's simply no substitute for repetition. The reason bad habits are so hard to break is because you've literally woven new neural networks into your brain. That doesn't go away overnight. So give yourself a break. And if you're trying to change a habit, know that it's usually best to try and replace bad behavior with a new behavior instead of just trying to erase the pattern altogether. The good thing is that now you know you have the power to change your brain. It's as easy as brushing your teeth. And if you haven't made it a habit already, stay curious.
Okay. So what did we think? Oh, you're on mute. People are on mute.
Habits are complicated, very, very complicated. I mean, I think he the way he explains it makes it seem like it's really, really simple. So parts of what he said, I think resonate, but overall, I think it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And he definitely does acknowledge that, habits do have this complexity to them. But one of the things that I took away is that habits can also be, we have some degree of power over the habits that we form, right? And how we can break them. And like the reason why I put this up here is because I want you to think about the power of habit when it comes to achieving the goals that you envision for yourself, right? And it's like those tiny things. So for me, like I really want to focus on my well-being and my wellness. And so towards that end, I started to run. Now, I used to hate running. I would be like, who in their right mind does this? Like, this is torture. It's horrible. But what I did is that I number one, and part of the reason why it was so bad, because like I really sucked at it. I was like, I really suck at running, right? Like I am just not, this is just not it for me. And so what I had to do, and this is an important dimension to visualization, is you don't want to get like so far like out there that you perceive it to be just something that you can't accomplish, right? Because like I was going from, okay, not being an athlete to thinking that I'm like this Olympic, I need to be like an Olympic style marathoner, right? That was just not going to happen. Okay. But what I could do is I could actually envision myself and see myself running just period, right? And I could see myself and I could envision myself, being in a race, like not necessarily being an Olympian, but just like being in a race. And so what I did is that I asked myself, okay, well, what are my strengths when it comes to this? My strength is that, I can walk for a long time. Like walking is an easy thing for me. I can do it for a long time. And then I focused on, all right, if I want to get more steps in the day to like focus on my well-being, the best way to do that is to just run, because like I need to get more steps. I can't be out here walking 10 hours a day. Right. And so for me, that step led to me engaging in a habit. So I have now gone from I hate running to I'm now clocking about 25, 30 miles a week. And even though, right, like there are days I do not want to do this per the point of the person on YouTube, thank you, per the point of the person on the YouTube, it's so ingrained in me now that I can't not do it. I feel weird if I don't do it. Right. And so the reason why I put this up here is for you to think about tiny habits. Okay, yes, muscle memories, to think about tiny habits that you can do to get you to those things that you envision, right? So for instance, Elisa, you want to connect more to your community, right? Like a tiny habit that you could do that's very much in your wheelhouse is, you know what, twice a week, I'm going to have just like coffee sessions with community members. I'm just going to bring them in to, some kind of coffee session, right? And the cue, right, is going to be, you have to figure out what your cue is, right? Then the action is actually interacting with them, getting information, getting to know them. And then the reward could be, we're going to serve like delicious coffee, right? Like at the end, or have like some really special treats at the end, right? So that's like a tiny habit that can give you really good information about the community that you want to serve. If you want to build better systems, right? A tiny habit, and I kid you not, because like I've had to write a book before. I had to write a dissertation, and it is not easy. Okay, so it's not easy, right? A tiny habit is, you know what? I'm going to spend an hour just doing research. And the reward, I mean, for me, like I always get a coffee. I don't know what it is. Like I just like coffee a lot. And so my reward is a special cup of coffee. So now like I'm really activating those like pleasure centers in my brain, so that my brain is like, oh, we want to do this more, right? If we do some research about something for like a system or growing your business, then you know what? If I can get some coffee at the end of that, my brain and my body, like they like that a lot. Let's do this some more, right? So what I want you to do, okay, I want you to think about a tiny habit that you can do every day, or maybe just like a couple days a week. So you want to think about the cue, the routine, and the reward. And I want you to, yes, coffee. And I want you to just imagine and see yourself doing that. Okay. Does anybody have a tiny habit that they want to share? Yes, yes, Elisa, go ahead.
This was part of my New Year's resolution, and I haven't not accomplished it yet this year, but it's going to bed like early or on time and not staying up so late so that I can get up early and be more productive in the morning.
Awesome.
And things just keep coming up, not necessarily business related, mostly related to the business, but just like I keep getting to bed later than I would like to, and then that leads to me, not having a good night's sleep, and then it's harder to wake up when I'm supposed to.
Exactly. Okay, so what do you think is a tiny habit that can help you to really engage and to achieve that goal?
For sure, just turning off my phone, putting it in another room, and not getting caught up on, even if it's like, sometimes I really do have to get on there to check a message that's related to the business, but then I get sidetracked with other things on social media, and then before I know it, it's 11 o'clock, and or just just trying to like read a book instead of
Okay. So let's do this, right? So they say that you should actually have like your wind down time like an hour before you actually want to go to bed, right? And so you need to start kind of having your wind down routine. Like, and let's say that you want to go to bed at 10 o'clock. You need to start your wind down routine at 9 o'clock, right? Now, I want you to think about that wind down time as your reward time, because you are rewarding yourself for getting in the bed early. Okay. And I want your wind down time to really be really pleasurable, not just something that's functional, because you really need to fire off those really feel good hormones in your brain and in your body. Okay. So that might be, okay, I'm going to put my favorite book on my bed, which is like a signal that I can get into this book. Right. Or maybe it's, okay, I'm gonna, have some like aromatherapy starting at 9 o'clock. So I really want you to develop a ritual for yourself, because that's going to be the reward for you. So your cue is that the clock strikes 9. Okay. The routine, so for you, it's like routine and a reward, right? The routine and reward are mixed together, and that you are getting yourself ready to go to sleep. Okay. Now the secondary reward, right, is that you actually fall asleep and you're refreshed in the morning. So you have like an immediate reward and then like a slightly, kind of later reward, right? So how does that sound? You think you can try that?
I'm challenging myself tonight.
Good, excellent. What's another tiny habit that someone would like to share that they feel that that can help them get to what they want to get to for 2022?
I want to start exercising more. I liked what you said about walking.
Yeah.
So I generally don't do any walking, but I think to get me back into the gym a little bit more often, because now I'm finding out that it takes me a little longer to recuperate after working out. So like I used to like work out for like 2 hours. Whoa. And then give myself a break, like a day, and then go back the next day and just do another hour and a half to another 2 hours or something like that. But nowadays, if I do 2 hours, it takes me 2 to 3 days to recover, not one day, 2 to 3. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, that's real. That's real, right? Like, I mean, after I turn 40, it's like the body changes are like,
oh my God,
girl, what's going on? So a couple of things, right? When you are talking about like the goal, like you want to exercise more, like you want to feel more fit, maybe you want to feel stronger, have more endurance and so forth and so on.
Right.
So I want you to see yourself doing that when you're doing like your vision board, because like the next step after we're offline, it's for you to get pictures of all of this, like get the pictures and the words, right? So for you, Theodora, you're going to get images, right, of someone like actually walking. Okay. Now, when you're visualizing yourself working out and meeting your goal, I want it to be something that I want it to be like almost like a scaled vision for yourself. right? So again, like for me, I am not at the marathon point yet. I cannot. Okay. Like that's a longer term goal for me. Okay. So like, do I want to be able to run a marathon? Absolutely. But if I try to go from like 0 to 180 in a short amount of time, I am going to hurt myself and then I get demotivated. So the way that you continue to be on this path of obtaining your vision is you have to maintain that motivation and you have to nurture your motivation and you have to set yourself up for that, for nurturing your motivation. So what I want you to think about doing, right? I was the same way, right? I came out the gate thinking that I could just like run my heart out and I got injured. And that completely demotivated me. And the same thing as you, as I went harder than I was used to, and it took me more time to recover. So I really want you to set yourself up for success and visualize yourself. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go an hour and then I'm going to have a reward, right? And that reward, which can actually help with your recovery, right, are finding things that actually help with your recovery. So for me, I was having like a lot of like muscle inflammation and pain and inflammation in my body. And I realized, oh, you know what, turmeric tea, that's great. That works for me. And so for me, right, one of the rewards is it's number one, definitely kind of connecting with that feeling of, my body, right, it's getting better. Like I see the changes. I notice that my memory is better. I'm thinking clear, I'm thinking faster, like all those rewards are coming from me. And I think about that. And that's like a more longer term thing. But in the short term, my reward is just, like I get to have that turmeric tea, which is going to make me feel better, like in the short term. I get better sleep in the short term. So the key with your visualization is to definitely set yourself up for success and to nurture your motivation so that you don't get demotivated. Does all that make sense to people? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so we are pretty much out of time now, right? So like, I know that this wasn't like a traditional vision boarding exercise because maybe you thought, oh, I'm gonna just like put images up there, okay? That's gonna be part 2, okay? So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to write down, who attended, and I'm gonna just ask you on Slack starting tomorrow, what images and what like words and word images that you found, right, that you're going to put on your vision board based on this foundation. Okay, so remember, what's your why? Why does that matter to you? Who do you want to be? Who do you need to be to accomplish what you want to accomplish? And as far as the accomplishments, like what are those things? Like I want to feel a certain way. I want to grow this. I want to change that. I want to develop that. I want to show up in a certain kind of way. I want to embody this, right? All those things. And then I want you to also pick images that show you images of yourself or images of people in action doing those things, right? And Claudia, yes, I can share that template with you. I can share the Jamboard so that you can actually have that with you. Does that sound good, Claudia? Yes. Okay, perfect. So I can send out the Jamboard, right? And I'll send it over Slack. But I'm going to ask you all, because you all were like the attendees here, but just like share the images that reflect what it is that we talked about. So does that sound good to folks? Yes. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for hanging in there. Thank you for your attention. I hope that this was helpful. So how do we feel? Do we feel like more motivated and just intentional and like ready to take on the visualization board? Yes, good. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all have a wonderful night, and I'll see you all on Slack tomorrow for all of this.
Thank you for listening to this special audio clip from Leaf. We hope you enjoyed what you heard and will continue to help us amplify the voices of BIPOC women entrepreneurs. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Leaf Cal State LA to stay up to date with our accelerator for emerging entrepreneurs and other resources.